Hi, welcome to Cranbourne Golf Club. My name's Mark All. I'm the golf professional here. Today we're going to do another part of our series on chipping, and this is how to actually practice properly and start to learn some things about your chipping action and how far the ball goes off that. So what I've done here is I've actually set up a game called a ladder game. Now it's a very simple game. We've got it nice and visual here. We've got it actually laid out on the ground, but essentially I've got numbers in terms of meters coming back from a 0 point all the way through. So we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, right, all the way through to 16. So that's called a ladder game. Now effectively we've got a nice visual one set up here with some paint on the ground, but what you can also do is set up something like this just with some clubs. So let's say I put a club here down on the line between 7 and 8, another one at 9 and 10, those three golf clubs. I've got effectively a ladder set up. So this is an easy way of practicing your chipping action in terms of understanding how far the ball goes. Now in a second I'm going to show you a couple other things, but this is essentially a game that's a really important part of your chipping, is understanding where your ball lands and how much swing you need to land the ball in different positions, because chipping effectively has two parts to it. It's chipping the ball, having it land in a position, and then understanding with the club that you're going to have how far it then rolls. So we're going to do in this video just essentially how you set up to be able to practice landing the ball in different distances, because essentially that's a really important part of the game. So this is a ladder game, and it's a really important game, as I said, and every good player has played this game, so it's a really important one for you to actually practice properly. So essentially pick these three golf clubs up. All right, this is our ladder game. Now if we come back, just back up to here, Tim. Okay, so let's put these clubs down here. Effectively, it might be a little bit hard to see, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to practice from here. I'm going to hit some shots. Now, I'm going to practice my standard chipping swing. Now, it's a really important to understand what your standard chipping swing is. So, for me, it's where I hinge my wrist to get my elbow by my side, and the golf club goes somewhere between my knee and my hip. All right, so it's a swing sort of about here through to here. All right, really important. So it's a swing from here to here, here to there. All right, and that's my standard chipping action. Now for me, because I've practiced this, the ball always tends to fly and it lands between sort of 10 and 11. All right, so on my ladder setup, if I hit the standard chip shots, which I'm going to hit in a minute, the ball flies a certain trajectory and always lands at around 10 or 11. Always has, always will. All right, and so practicing then is, well, how much swing do I need to then change it? So I'll hit my standard one first. All right, so it's a swing from sort of here to here, and the ball always tends to land at 10 to 11. Okay, so if I want to then hit the ball longer or shorter, well, what I do is I just adjust how much body I have to it. So my wrist action's always the same. It's always going to be bend backward, never up, always back. All right, so if I want to land the ball at 5, what do I then need to be able to do is, if that's from there to there is 10 to 11, 5 is going to be something like that. Maybe a touch more than that. All right, so 5, bugger, 6. All right, so effectively learning how much swing I need to hit the ball different distances. So my standard one is 10 to 11, and I adjust the amount of rotation depending on how far I want to go. So good players can land the ball at 5, land the ball at 6, land at 7, land at 8, land at 9. What is the difference? It's just how much body I add to that wrist action. All right, so all our distance control always comes from our body. How much rotation am I adding? My wrist action's always the same. Elbow, wrist hinges back, elbow goes by my side, and I rotate my torso. Really important. Before you learn anything, just like with putting, always know what your standard one is. All right, and for me, it's about 10 to 11. What you want to do is practice hitting a few shots, watching how far the ball goes. Be really consistent with your swing. Watch where the ball goes, and what you'll find is it starts to land in the same spot. Put a tee down, put a couple of clubs down, see if you can land the ball in that area. Once you can do that, measure the distance and start to understand where that ball is landing. Then from there you can adjust it more or less. So play the ladder game, really important game for your chipping. Understand how much swing you need to be able to land the ball where you want it to land. Now, really a side little thing, which is a really important thing, most people don't understand this. the landing point for a pitching wedge and the landing point for a 7-iron or an 8-iron or a sand iron is the same distance. It doesn't change. So everyone thinks it would change. It isn't. So for me, whether I use a 7-iron, whether I use a pitching wedge, whether I use a sand iron, doesn't matter. My standard distance is always 10 or 11. All right, and you should try that yourself, see if it is the difference. You'd be amazed that it's the same distance for every single club. And that's how you're going to improve your chipping.